Today, Brad Williams joins me, who is a former professional footballer. Brad, welcome to the podcast.
Nice to meet you, mate.
And you too. Thank you very much for joining me once again. So, to start us off then, as I mentioned, you are a former professional footballer. Who got you into football? Do you have family members? Was it brothers, sisters?
To be fair, mate, my old man was a professional footballer, so it sort of ran in the family, and I'm guessing he sort of forced me to play it as soon as I could walk, sort of thing. So yeah, it was, to be honest, mate, as young as I can remember, I just remember being able to kick a ball and playing. Started Sunday League, and then obviously got into the academy, and then up to the professional sort of. But yeah, it was just all I knew was football. To be fair, all my life, mate.
That's interesting that you're. I've never had that many people that parents were professional footballers, but I suppose that really helped. Was he a bit harder on you knowing that he was in the professional game?
To be fair, I think people assume that when you've got a bit of pressure on you, when you know what I mean, your old man's a football and stuff like that. And I remember watching him. He was semi-pro when I was sort of growing up, like coming away from the game, but he never really put pressure on me at all, to be honest. He just sort of said, like, go enjoy yourself. He used to be harsh. Even if I played well, I never really got, you did well, son. It was always what you could have done, but I'd never say he was harsh and very pushy, no.
That's interesting again because, you know, when you have, even some parents who aren't even professional footballers, they often go quite hard on their kids. And I think that's something that perhaps you saw at Hull City, where you went on at 7 years old into the academy. Again, the atmosphere, what was that like at Hull?
Yeah, so I had one season at Sunday League and my local team got picked up by Hull. And then, to be honest, mate, yeah, it was straight into like a sort of, even at that sort of age, they sort of drive it into you. The like professional environment, the hard work, like dedication. I mean, I got to hand it to my mum, my granddad, all the people, my dad who helped me get to and from training, because it used to be a lot. It used to be, I remember towards secondary school, it used to be about 5 times a week, and obviously when you've got homework, GCSEs, trying to fit into your mates and stuff, it is a lot. But yeah, I think it was a great experience. I was there for from age of 7 to about 16, and I had ups and downs, but it's taught me a lot that I take into now anyway.
So at Hull City, you mentioned there that, you know, they got you into the deep end straight away, and it was very full on, as you mentioned, 5 times a week. Did it ever get boring, or did you always look forward to going in there? And
to be honest, mate, it's funny you say that. When I was about 14, I was honestly like this close to leaving. I had a meeting and everything. To be fair, I always was doing quite well at Hull. I played year above quite a lot. But I was quite a late developer, and when I was like 14, 15, I found it quite hard physically, because you get lads who are like men with beards, and then you get little lads, and I was one of them little lads who struggled a bit. And it was getting too much, do you know what I mean? School, straight to trade. I had like no life. It was just school, football, sleep, school, football, sleep. And I came home from school, I was like, Mum, I ain't doing this no more. Like, I'm not. Nearly left. I think I had about a month off. They didn't like release me or anything, and then I went back, give it a good go until I was 16. Obviously, at 16, the decision happened, which obviously we'll probably talk about after this anyway. But yeah, I nearly quit. Yeah, I nearly quit.
Playing against sides like Leeds United, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, these top sides within the Premier League and Championship, that obviously again is having to ump you up more, because you need to compete against these top players and top sides.
Yeah, I mean, when I started off at Hull, it was a Cat 3 academy, I think, or Cat 4. So we were only playing like Scunthorpes, your Hartlepools, your Doncasters. And Hull, I think in the time I was there, they went to the Prem, got money and all that. So we started playing against better teams like your Man Cities, your Man U's, your Evertons. I remember playing Sunderland, were very, very good, Newcastle, all these big teams where, to be fair, it humbles you a bit, to be honest, because you think you're good, and then you play against these lads, you're like, fucking hell, miles off it. So yeah, it was a great experience, to be honest, mate. Yeah.
At 16, as you mentioned, you left Hull City. It was ultimately, you didn't go down the scholarship pathway that was offered. How was that meeting then? After, you know, not long after you wanted to quit, even just a few years before.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, at academies, you might not know, but you have like 6-week reviews sort of just to see how you're getting on and stuff with your parents and the coaches, like a little meeting. And I always had really good reviews. There was never one where they used to sort of warn you if you were like, do you know what I mean, going off track a bit. Never really had one. It was all positive, and then the last one before my final decision wasn't great, and it basically shocked me a bit because I was like, well, this is my first bad one. Told me I needed to score more, like create more, assist more. I think we had about 5 games to prove myself, and I think I scored about 4 and got a few assists as well. I was really, really confident, to be fair. I think few lads know going into the final decisions whether you're going to get something or not, but I was pretty confident, and I didn't even sit down and I got told it was a no, which, to be honest, mate, I was heartbroken because in your head you're just like, crap, what do I do? Like, what do I do? And the reason was they said to me they didn't see a pathway to professional football, which, to be honest, mate, it just my motivation then was just prove these wrong, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that would be the attitude of most people. What did your dad say when you got released?
To be honest, mate, I think deep down he was probably gutted. My mum was a bit more emotional with me because she don't really understand it all, but my dad was more like, right, dust yourself up, prove them wrong, because it's one person's opinion, which football is. It's just a game of opinions, who prefers you, who doesn't. And I just sort of looked at it, I was like, right, I can either go 2 ways. I can either go cry every night, you know what I mean, give up completely, or I can, you know what I mean, put my head down and prove them wrong.
I suppose no one wants to be in that percentage of people that, spend their entire first 15, 20 years of life trying to be a professional footballer, then it doesn't quite happen. You went to Harrogate. Was that the only offer that was on the table at the time?
So when I got released, part of the academy sort of process is they do set up a few trials for you. They briefly mentioned it in the meeting, mate, but I was that upset and that focused about not getting anything there. I completely forgot. And at the time, Harrogate, I think they had 1 season in League Two, and it was the first year of opening their academy. So they had there was 80 lads there, just all playing games and stuff. And it was my last option because I went to Scunthorpe before on trial, and they weren't really giving me a yes or a no. They sort of just you need to sort of play more. We've not seen enough of you, stuff like this. But yeah, it was like a trial game at Harrogate, 11v11. And I had 1 trial game, and then I think a handful got picked for another trial game, and then they made a decision after that.
And you obviously got the scholarship that you were after. Could you just tell people what is a scholarship compared to being on that, professional contract?
Yeah, so it's I always compare it. It's like an apprenticeship. You get sparkies, young lads who go straight into an apprenticeship. It's like that. So you're basically getting paid to play football, but you've got an education as well. So we used to do education on Monday, Tuesday, have Wednesday off, education Thursday, Friday. But then it's literally like being full-time footballer, to be honest. Everything's the same. You just got education, you're getting paid for it. So at the time you think, you know what I mean, you think it's unbelievable. You're like, this is the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That was the dream for you at the time too. You did move away from home for the first time in that environment, trying to really push on. Was that difficult to move away from family?
To be honest, mate, I think out of all the lads who moved, I probably took it quite well. I wouldn't say the best, but I took it probably one of the best, to be honest. I was quite independent. My mum I didn't really have to speak to my mum much. She sort of didn't have to worry about me. And I was that focused on the goal anyway. I was like, well, I need to do this in order to get there. You know what I mean? I can't think, oh, I don't want to stay at home. I was like, right, I'm here. I'm doing it. I can fully focus. I'm away from home. There's no distractions. This is what I need to do to get to what I want. At the time, that was what I was just focused on, mate.
Prior to your breakthrough in the first team, what was the best memory you had at Harrogate?
What, in the scholarship? Yeah. Best memory. I'd say we won the league in my second year. That was a pretty good memory, and I scored a few important goals in that second year. I got and I'd say maybe I scored a night. I think I came on in the 88th minute one game. I missed a penalty. We were 1-0 down. I missed a penalty. I felt like crying. Because I was like, oh my god, is a game. One of my mates, Finn, scored in the 91st minute to get a point, and then I scored again in the 97th minute to win. And I remember we all went to the corner, knee slid and everything. It was unbelievable. I'd say that was a great memory. But yeah, winning the league was class because no one really thought we could do that.
In those scholarship games, in the attendance, who's actually in the attendance? I'm presuming it's a load of scouts, maybe not so much family.
It depends where you are, really. I think it was a mix of family, scouts, coaches, and then just obviously people who just want to turn up and watch the game. I mean, the attendances were you don't really notice it, to be honest, but you used to see like scouts with the coats on and stuff like that, and coming up to parents and stuff. But yeah, that's a different conversation about scouts. But yeah.
So when you are at Harrogate, you got the call up to the first team. How did that one come about?
Mate, to be honest, it was really quick. Like I got released in May in 2021. I signed in July for Harrogate, and then I made my debut in October the same year. I think Harrogate, mate, they had quite a small squad anyway, and it was an EFL trophy game against Newcastle, and they had loads of injuries, and I don't think they wanted to risk anything. And I think the gaffer must have just said, like, under 18s coach, who you got at the minute who's doing well. And obviously he must have said a few names, and there was about 4 of us who just straight into the first team. We're like, wow, right, this is a reality check, you know what I mean?
But the thing is with the competition that you played in the EFL Trophy, it's these senior men teams from League 1, League 2 playing against like Premier League under-21s. How did it match up? Because I suppose an under-21s team is probably a bit less physical, but ultimately they've got a lot of good players in the Newcastle side.
Yeah, I think it's really good for them boys as well, because it gives you... Nothing can relate to men's football. I tell this to everyone. Like, it's sometimes I look at it like a completely different game. Like, my scholarship games to men's football, no matter what the level, it's a different game. But yeah, I remember playing... I think when I came on the pitch, Elliot Anderson was next to me, and obviously look at his career and what he's doing now. It's mental to look back and think like they're the sort of players you're even near. Like, but yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I think it's a great opportunity to get young lads in. Like, I think it was good from Harrogate that they got us in that sort of game, because it's sort of, rather than throwing you in the deep end in League 2 straight away, sort of gets your name about and gets you used to being around them and stuff. So.
And you did play in League 2, obviously against Rochdale, have now just been promoted the other week. What was that like for you? Again, the whole build-up towards the game, and I suppose that because you played the first game in the senior team, maybe this was a bit more of a return to home, should you say, that now you could get like a long run in the first team? Yeah,
well, once I got that sniff, mate, and I sort of realised, right, this is what I need to be like, this is how I need to perform. And I think it's mainly believing yourself, because at the time, I think I was only 17, 18, and you look at all these players and you're thinking, I'm not that good, and so, but you just got to sort of see in your head, like, what am I good at? How can I affect the game? How can I make these lads think he's ready to be with us? So once I got that League 2 call, mate, I came on against Rochdale. Big crowd at Rochdale, about maybe like 5,000-6,000 there. It was biggest crowd I played in front of, and I mean, I didn't come on for long, but just running on the pitch and like seeing your mum and your family all in the stands and stuff, and you're looking around thinking, wow, like, this is what you used to dream of as a kid, and you're coming on and you're thinking, wow, like, you just want to do well. Like, the adrenaline was crazy, mate. I wasn't really thinking about anything else. I just wanted to, run and smash someone or fucking shoot from, you know what I mean? You don't really think about much, and it all comes so quick. Like, but after the game, you realise, you're like, oh my God, that's just happened.
And it was an away win for you guys, so it's even more important. And at full time, was there any clapping towards the away fans?
Yeah, I remember, I've got a video actually. We all clapped the away fans. I think it was like a 4-1 win or something. And my mum, I seen her in the stands, and my granddad went and gave her a hug and stuff. Yeah, it was it's a memory that I'll definitely never forget. It was class.
You climbed up the hill, or the mountain, should we say, and then unfortunately you had to come back down. There were some injuries and repeated injuries at Harrogate in the first full professional season that you had. What injuries were they? Yeah,
so finished the second year, mate. I signed my pro. That off season, I was always a bit, you can say boring, but I know some lads like to go enjoy themselves, but I was like, right, I've got the pro now, this is what I've worked for, like, I'm not messing it up now. So that off season, I worked like the hardest I've ever worked. Like, was so strict on what I ate, running, gym, like, took it all serious, and I came back and I was the fittest and strongest I've ever been. I was really confident, did really well in pre-season in the running tests and all that and stuff. We played against Huddersfield in a pre-season friendly, and then we played against Lincoln. And the day after, I felt a little pain in my knee. Wasn't too worried really, because I was like, right, it's not, I can still walk sort of thing, it's all right. Got told it was nothing really major. Went out to go run again about 2 weeks later after a bit of rest. Just ballooned back up again. I was like, right, maybe something is quite wrong. So I went for a scan, got the results back, got told it was a tear in meniscus, but I got told it was like small, so I didn't really need operating on. And then I went to go see the specialist in Leeds, and he basically said, like, we need to operate on it, otherwise it's not going to get better. So I got an operation on that. But the worst part was, it was like the worst time when everyone was, do you know what I mean? Especially that level, mate, like a week off, you feel it when you come back, you feel like you're miles behind. And I knew, I was like, I'm going to come back, and everyone's obviously just been training, getting fitter, and I'm just like going the opposite way. So I knew it was a hard one to take, mate. But yeah, I came back about mid-November, I think, end of November, and then I ended up going on loan.
And when you did get the injury and when the operation was happening, did you get any words of advice from the manager or perhaps the captain or anyone in the first team?
To be honest, mate, I didn't really speak to the manager that much in my pro year. I think they're all right. We're all quite close, but I don't think they realised, they probably thought he'll be fine, he'll be back flying soon. Because I mean, it wasn't like a serious ACL. It wasn't like a season-long injury. It was just a sort of little blip. But yeah, I remember speaking to some psychologists at Harrogate they brought in, which were pretty good. But yeah, I thought, when I came back, I thought, right, now was my time. And then obviously another thing happened. I was like, bloody hell, yeah.
And then you mentioned there you had a few loan spells after in this professional, semi-professional environment. Now, what was your aim and objective going down a few ranks?
Well, obviously, I knew at the time that the squad we had, the pro squad, and the first team, was very strong. And I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said in training I knew they were probably performing better than me, and you know what I mean. They were experienced lads, some loans from decent clubs and stuff. I was like, right, I'm not going to get in the squad, so we'll see if we can get on loan. Went to Darlington, who were in a relegation battle at the time in National North. Didn't really get the minutes I wanted to, but did all right when I could. But I didn't really get enough minutes to really prove to the gaffer or Darlington what I was really about, really. So it was a bit of a tough one, but it was a good experience still. It was still good. I'm glad I did it.
And then obviously you returned to Bradford Park Avenue. Again, aside that, it's still lower down. It's still semi-professional, but you just want to get as many minutes as possible and then return to Harrogate. That was your goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my goal, yeah. I think I played one game for Bradford. I think I did quite well, if I remember. Then the second games, I started getting a bit of pain somewhere else. And then obviously that led to went back to Harrogate to get it sorted, and then it led to being injury that was basically, I was out for the full season then.
It was a long time at Harrogate that you had. You were released in 2024. What was that conversation like? Was it harder knowing that you really tried to push on prior to the injury?
Yeah, mate. It was a tough convo. I remember speaking with the gaffer, and obviously at the time, I knew I didn't really, you know what I mean? I didn't do anything for him to think, wow, like let's get him, keep him on. It was, I think, the hardest part was knowing that it wasn't based on my performance. It was, I only had a year pro, and I did like nothing football wise to prove myself, which was the toughest one to take. I just knew it wasn't a football choice. I knew it was just sort of like, you'd probably cost us this like a lot of money in injuries and surgeries and injections, because I think I was the top most expensive player for like sorting out the injuries and stuff, which obviously I didn't want to be. But yeah, it was tough, because you go from like the highs high of I'm a pro footballer now, like playing in League Two, FA Cup and stuff, and then you go to like that title just getting taken off you, and you're just at your lowest point, and you're like, Jesus, like, wow.
And what did you think coming out of that? Because I know that you've been doing some futsal work, you've been doing your coaching badges, you've got a full-time job.
Yeah, so I came out, part of your scholarship you do your UEFA C coaching badge. So I went to go to the futsal near me, started one-to-one coaching with the kids and stuff. And I ended up going on a trial at South Shields. in pre-season. I don't think many people know about this, to be fair. But yeah, I went on loan. Well, not on loan. Sorry, on trial to South Shields. To be fair, they were really good with me. They housed me up there over the pre-season. I lived with one of the players. Felt good in pre-season, mate. Felt like fit. Felt like I was getting back there, sort of. I didn't feel 100%, but I felt like I was getting there. They were a full-time club, paying lads decent money and stuff. So I thought if I get myself in around here, it'd be good. Played against Sunderland in pre-season, which at the time I thought it was going to be the 21s or something like that. And then I remember walking. I started the game. I walked down the tunnel, and I was looking to my left, and there was like Chris Rigg, all these Sunderland stars, Patrick Roberts, all these big names. I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, I'm not really ready for this. Anyway, I played fullback, and to be honest, I had a shocker. Didn't play well, and then they played me the next game against Hartlepool, which I remember sprinting down the line, and I felt something go in my hip. And I remember sitting down about 20 minutes in the game, going down, obviously, to come off. I remember just getting in the car and after, I was like, I can't do this no more. Like, I'm literally giving everything here and I'm getting nothing. Like, I'm just keep breaking down. And I think I must have had a while. I think from July till about December, I didn't play at all. I just had a complete rest of it and just started playing futsal with a few of my mates at the time for a bit of fun.
But futsal is like five-a-side, isn't it? It's close, it's intense, your skills are there. Why do you think then you're more suited to a futsal environment and perhaps not the full-time professional environment?
To be fair, mate, just before I joined Harrogate, in that time between finishing school and joining Harrogate, I had about 2-3 games of futsal. I used to go train just to keep fit in general, and I used to get that buzz off it. I used to be able to just. It wasn't serious. I was like rainbow flicking, step overs, just like you're in that flow state where you're not even thinking about doing it, you're just doing what you're good at. And I remember just thinking like it was good when I was doing it. It was good. So yeah, I went back to it and I was thinking, yeah, this is a bit of me. It's obviously it's not as serious and intense. It's still intense, but obviously not as intense as full-time football. And it was a bit more me. I'm sort of like a take you on player and skills and stuff rather than like your centre back who just wants to head it or smash it. So I think it suited me a bit more, and I just got that buzz back, to be honest.
Your full-time job is obviously in the construction environment. I don't know if you can compare it, but let's try. Would you rather? I mean, do you regret not being the professional footballer despite the injuries? Do you wish that you carried on?
I say that a lot of people are like, how can you go from professional football to literally not playing at all? I've not played since September. And it comes to a shock to a lot of people. But for me, I just think, one, you just got to do what you enjoy, firstly. Because if you're not enjoying something, then there's no point in doing it. Semi-pro football is a lot different. I feel like people don't really understand that. And...
Last question I've got for you is about coaching. I know that you've obviously done your UEFA C. Is there anything in your head that's triggered to maybe go on and do some more badges and try and be a football manager?
To be honest, mate, I've never really had that sort of like leadership in me. I always thought I like doing the one-to-one stuff, and I prefer the sort of coaching lads individually, and especially coaching lads who actually want to get better, rather than like lads who are just there because the parents force them to go. I prefer the lads who actually who were similar to me at the time, where they just want to get better and they want to just be as good as possible. I've not coached for about 4 months now, but I do miss it. And I think if there was an opportunity where my brother needed a coach or their coach dropped out and they needed a coach for a little bit, I probably would try it, yeah. But to be honest, mate, I've not thought of anything about coaching since I've started it now. So,
well, Brad, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. It's been good.